Freezer Meals 101. Today is the day you've been waiting for. People have been asking us for more Instant Pot recipes, and they are here. We're gonna get into our first one right now. The first recipe is beef barbacoa. It is a fairly new one to us, and my goodness, does it come out like a firecracker. We love it. It is flavorful and it is spicy.
And it smells amazing.
And it makes a ton, which is great for big families. And that means it's lots of leftovers, which is great for little families. So here it is. In our large freezer bag, we're going to add beef roast that has been cut into 3-inch chunks. We're going to add in diced onion, chipotle peppers and adobo sauce, minced garlic, lime juice, cider vinegar, cumin, oregano, ground cloves, salt and pepper, some bay leaves, and some beef broth. We're going to mix that around right into the bag. We're going to remove as much air as we possibly can, then we're going to seal it up and freeze it. And this is a fantastic Instant Pot one, and you're going to love this recipe. This goes great on rice, in tortillas. You could put this on a salad, like in a taco salad sort of situation. And this is going to be wildly popular. And your neighbors are gonna come over because they're gonna wanna know what that great smell is.
Seriously.
It is so true.
It's one of those when you come home and you like walk in and it's in your crock pot or your Instant Pot. Mm-hmm. It's just like, yeah, you get hungry immediately.
You do. And this one's on the spicy side. So you can reduce those adobo peppers if you want, either just use the sauce or just cut back on the peppers altogether. And it will still have the nice kick, but won't be quite so territorial. But you know, you normally like the spicy, and I'm sort of spicy. And this one, full spice for me. I love it.
The next one that we're going to share with you is Philly chicken sandwiches. These are so good, super family friendly. And when you pair the fact that you made everything ahead with the magic convenience of your Instant Pot, this is going to be so quick to get on the table. Into your freezer bag, you're going to add your chicken breast, some sliced green and red peppers, sliced onion, seasoning salt, some minced garlic, and that's it for your large bag. You're gonna get your air out of your bag so that you don't end up with freezer burn, seal it, and then in a quart size medium freezer bag, you're going to put some provolone cheese slices. You're gonna seal that bag up and you're gonna staple those bags together above the seal so that everything is all together on the day you go to make this. You can do this in your slow cooker, but if you want to do it in your Instant Pot, then you're going to thaw it and you're going to dump the contents of that bag into your Instant Pot along with about a cup of chicken broth or water. And then you're going to get that all cooked up and you can shred the meat. You're going to place that like really tasty filling onto some hoagie rolls and then just top them with that sliced cheese. If you want, you can throw that into the microwave or the oven just to melt the cheese, but either way, these are tasty, good, and they really are a family favorite. So today it kind of looks like we've got like the duel of the Instant Pots happening.
Yeah.
Because this one is Christie's.
Mm-hmm. Ta-da!
And this tall one that I can hardly see over
yeah.
is mine.
We decided to like put them off to the side because I put this one right here when we were setting up and I'm like, oh, they won't be able to see Charlotte. And so we'll just put them off to the side a little bit before we talk.
But the reason that we brought our Instant Pots with us today is to just share with you a little bit about our Instant Pot journey, because if you've watched the channel for a while, then you know a lot about our freezer meal journey, but not so much about the Instant Pots. So I have a love-hate relationship with my Instant Pot. The very first time I ever made anything in the Instant Pot, it was our Italian chicken and veggies, I think is what it's called. It's one of our recipes. And I didn't do things properly. I don't know how I messed it up, but maybe I didn't seal it all the way, or I don't know. But anyway, whatever it is that happened, it sprayed onto my ceiling, like up and around. And so the counters, the ceiling, which I had to stand on the island to wash my ceiling, it was not a good situation.
It wasn't a good first impression.
No.
No.
The Instant Pot and I got off on the wrong foot.
Very rough start.
So I have shied away from using the Instant Pot largely. I do have, my friend Michelle is always like touting the virtues.
She's like an Instant Pot queen.
Yes. And so there has been the odd time where I have attempted something in the Instant Pot at Michelle's suggestion, and it's always turned out. But, you know, I'm still a little hesitant. I'm a little bit afraid, gun shy, you know. I do use my Instant Pot all the time to just cook plain chicken. If I'm assembling freezer meals and I need cooked chicken for it, a lot of the times we use raw, of course, but especially if you're doing freezer meals for 1 or 2 and you just want an easy reheat, then I'll cook the chicken ahead and cube it and put it in the meal. So when I do that, if I'm doing a large quantity, I do them on baking sheets in the oven. If I'm just doing like 1 or 2 recipes, then I throw the chicken breasts in the Instant Pot with a little bit of water. Michelle literally on a FaceTime call walked me through this, like, I mean, step by step by step, and I made her stay on the call with me the whole 8 minutes. I mean, it's only 8 minutes that they cook in there, but the whole time, because again, I'm a little bit afraid of my Instant Pot.
It is good to be walked through when you're afraid of your Instant Pot.
Right. So I still use it, but not often and not for meals. So generally speaking, I will put an Instant Pot meal in the slow cooker. I just feel more comfortable and I'm not afraid of it. And my slow cooker and I are friends. We are frenemies.
A little bit.
The Instant Pot and I. However, I know that the Instant Pot is faster. Sometimes you can get juicier meat. It like can seal in the moisture of the meat better. So Christie started asking me questions about the Instant Pot.
About the Instant Pot, and more importantly, our club members and our YouTube viewers were like, can you do that in the Instant Pot? And our first response was to freeze.
Yeah.
Because we're like, I don't know what you can do in the Instant Pot. And so really it was partly a journey for myself. My husband has asked me on occasion, like, would you want an air fryer? Do you want an Instant Pot? Like, it's kind of like, it comes up around Christmas time and my birthday. Because I do cook and I would use it if I had it, kind of thing. And so I thought, okay, this is my time. I'm gonna learn how to use the Instant Pot so we can put them in confidently in our recipes, and we know what we're talking about, and well, at least one of us does.
I trust Christie.
Yeah.
So if she says this was great in the Instant Pot,
Yeah.
very happy for her.
So last fall, I guess, I borrowed her Instant Pot because I thought, okay, do I really need another appliance for starters? Because I have a plethora. And will I use it? And will it replace my slow cooker? I don't like my slow cooker. There are certain things that I love my slow cooker for, and then there are other things I'm like, that should not go in a slow cooker.
We have had some heated discussions.
Jamaican jerk chicken should not be in the slow cooker.
Like,
Period.
heated.
I forced her to pull those directions off of the recipe, and I'm like, they can really only go in the barbecue, and if you really, really need to, you can fry them.
It's true.
I think there's still oven directions on there because, you know, not everybody's comfortable with doing it on their frying pan, and not everybody has a barbecue. So I'm like, yeah, I heated.
You took a stand. Like, you were like...
And I'm a pretty easygoing person. I
Yeah.
don't know if you know this about my personality. I am very easygoing. I roll with whatever. And this is her channel. I just get to show up and put on makeup and a dress and show up and say hi to you guys and talk about my Instant Pot. So I roll with it, but I had to take a stand. I'm like, Jamaican jerk chicken deserves better than that. And you can't tell me that this is going to be appetizing with those flavors. Like, we're missing out. And she agreed with me.
Yes,
Because she's a reasonable person.
Here's the thing. I don't know if you're familiar with the Enneagram, but Christie is an Enneagram 9, and so she is very agreeable.
Yeah.
And I love Enneagram 9s.
Charlotte is a 4, and 9s and 4s have wonderful friendships, wonderful relationships. They often get married to each other, and they really, really have a lovely connection.
And so I have quite a few really close friends who are 9s. Like, it makes sense that we're friends.
Yeah.
But, 9s don't like to take a stand unless it's something that they're really passionate about. So when Christie does speak up and does put her foot down,
I don't think this is the best, and I'm the nicest way about it. I'm I don't really think that this is the best way that we should be doing this. But I think I was more forceful than that.
You were much more forceful than that. And so when she does, it's very rare.
But really
when she does put her foot down, then I know that means that she feels really strongly about this, strongly enough to risk conflict, which is not that fun for 9s.
Right. That's the whole point of us being easygoing. Right.
I do not love conflict either. But anyway, so all that to say that when we had this discussion, it wasn't a fight. It's not like we had our boxing gloves out. But I kind of I was well, but I've made it in the slow cooker before, and it tasted good.
It was fine. It's not what it should be. How about that?
However,
did I convince you?
She 100% convinced me. Plus, the fact that she was willing to go to bat for it.
I was totally willing to go. I have been to Jamaica. I had eaten the Jamaican jerk chicken on the beach in Jamaica with the Jamaican man at this makeshift grill that I'm I don't know if this is safe and I'm gonna eat it. And it was so amazing. And I don't know if it was the surf or if it was we're on vacation and it was the sun, but that's what it was supposed to taste like. And there was nothing in the slow cooker that could make that happen. And so we just weren't doing it justice. And I felt I felt like that was where I was gonna take my stand. I was gonna save the Jamaican jerk chicken.
Even you convincing me, for the Marry Me chicken, even you convincing me to try searing it, on the stovetop rather than baking it in the oven.
It was the chicken hurry.
To the chicken hurry story.
Okay, we'll be quick because we'll get back to the Instant Pots, I promise.
Okay, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to finish Christie's Instant Pot journey story.
Because I have one.
Then we're going to tell you some more recipes because even though some of you are here for the recipes and the chat, some of you might be here for just the recipes. Use the timestamps if that's you. But also, if that's you, we are going to give you another few recipes, and then we're going to tell you the chicken curry showdown story.
It wasn't even a showdown, it was a wash.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So I borrowed her Instant Pot, and so the first thing I made in it was potatoes. I don't know why. Whatever I had taken out for dinner that night probably should go in the skillet or on the barbecue or whatever. And I'm well, what can I make with this? Can I make potatoes in the Instant Pot? So there is a lot of Googling at my house on how to do things in the Instant Pot even now, and that's totally fine. So I made the potatoes in it, and they were great. I made them, they had chicken broth in it, and they were seasoned nicely, and there was parsley in there and garlic. They were great. And so we had those. I made rice in it, which I don't have a rice cooker. And I know that I am a bit of a gadget person, and I make really nice rice on the stove, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with timing my meals so that the rice is ready. I don't feel the need to make the rice cooker, and people are that is a polarizing subject.
People feel passionately about their rice cooker.
Right? And so I tried it in the Instant Pot because it has a rice setting, and it just was okay, and it stuck, and it wasn't meh. So I might try again, I might not. But then when the Instant Pot really shone was my son, as most of you know, played football for the first time last year, and I was the biggest cheerleader. I was so excited about football, and I loved every minute of it. And near the end of their season is when they actually had their photos. They didn't do it at the beginning of the season. And so I had planned for that day to have everybody over for just a wind-up party. Just kind of impromptu of, hey, you guys, I know it's short notice, but tomorrow after photos, just come out to our place. We just built a new deck. Come out and I'll make some food and bring a potluck item if you can. So I thought, okay, I am going to have a few parents, I assumed, and then potentially 30 hungry teenage boys. Really, about half of that showed up. And so I had 2 beef roasts, and actually I had one, we had just done a mega session. I had my beef dip, and Charla's like, I'll give you I'll donate to the cause. And she gave me her beef dip. And these were unusually large roasts.
Yes, they were.
And so
when we made them, I think we were like,
what?
Whoa, we're going to need to have company over when we serve these.
15 teenage boys. And so I made one in her Instant Pot and one in my slow cooker because I couldn't do them both at the same time. And then the one from the Instant Pot I could transfer into my slow cooker and just leave it on keep warm. I could have done that in the Instant Pot. Either way, I had enough to feed all of these kids plus the parents that showed up, and we just had a great time. And I said, that's it. I don't think I need my slow cooker anymore. So my husband did buy me this one. So hers is an OG, right? You have to actually like flip. Oh, you have to flip this to steam or you have to lock it, right? And then this one, it's the new generation. This is the Instant Pot Pro Plus, and it has an app on my phone.
Fancy.
And it is so fancy that it's so fancy that there are things I don't know how to do with it. But I wanted to learn. So I've used almost all of the functions. You can't see them but I have made sous vide steak, where it just sits in the same temperature water for like 4 hours, and then you sear it. And Juliana, she's one of our viewers and she's in our club, she's like, put it on screaming hot cast iron is how you sear it after. And so my husband was working nights, otherwise he would have been in on it, but my son really wanted this steak, so we made the steak and he did it, and he's like, that was the best steak I've ever had. And so I regularly make yogurt in it. I have made rice again, I think, in this one. And then one other thing that
You made steel cut oats?
I make steel cut oats so often in it. And I was going to this morning because that's really, really what I wanted. And I'm like, no, because I don't have time to clean it again before I take it to Charla's, and I don't want to like take it dirty. So I made them in a pot, which then I really appreciated my Instant Pot because you push the button and you go away.
And you don't have to stand there stirring.
Right? So I have really become good friends with my Instant Pot. I am ready to, I think, move my slow cooker to the basement. I'm not like getting rid of it, but it has been demoted. And this now has a place in my kitchen, and I use it all the time. Whether it's something that needs to cook for hours and hours or not, it really just does a nice job. It's one pot to clean up. It's easy to clean. It has the self-sealing plug thing. I can start it from my phone. It tells me when something's done, like on my phone. Like, psh, this thing's great.
And when we did our last mega session, I will pop that link up there. We did 103 meals. We chose a few purposely to try in the Instant Pot, and Christie printed off labels for hers that said Instant Pot and had the Instant Pot directions, and for mine that said slow cooker and had
I knew she wasn't going
to. And so we're going to be sharing some of those ones with you today because they made the cut. They were so good.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I'm ready yet. I still have some, I don't want to say PTSD because it's not,
it's not
serious, but I have a little bit of
hesitancy.
Yes. So I'm not ready yet, but maybe someday I can borrow Christie's, and maybe her sealing thing that looks a little bit more secure and whatever will make me feel better.
Don't fool you. This part's plastic, but it's just a cover. And then this, but it sits there, and then as the pressure comes out this goes.
Okay.
There's something under there that goes, and it seals automatically.
But we are going to move these out of the way just because now that we've shared with you why we have 2 different Instant Pots, this is a little tall for me to look over all day.
Yeah.
So we're going to move this out of the way and get to the next recipe.
This is the beef dip recipe that I used to feed all of those kids and a few of those parents at the football wind-up party that we had. That really was kind of impromptu because we already had it in our freezers, Charla and I both. And so it was easy to just defrost one day, bam, into, like, one had to slow cook all day, one really just had to do it about 45 minutes, and it was done. My goodness, it was just so easy. And it just made it easy to invite people over and say, come to my house, I can feed everybody. It was like awesome. It was awesome, and it was tasty. So here is the recipe. Into your large freezer bag, you're going to add your beef roast. You're going to add minced garlic, dry onion soup mix, quite a bit of beef broth, and a bit of pepper. And that is it. You're going to remove that excess air, seal up your bag, and freeze it. When you go to cook this, man, allow it to thaw. If you're going to use your Instant Pot, you don't even have to really thaw it all the way because the Instant Pot does the heavy lifting with the steam. You may have to increase your time a little bit. Honestly, Google that. We do not have room to put all that on the label.
The labels would be like this long.
We have some recipes where our Instant Pot labels are like 3 and 4 long because there is just so much to say sometimes with the Instant Pot. And then to serve it, I went and picked up a bag of coleslaw and made coleslaw out of it, and then had just buns, just regular hamburger buns, and we used that, and it was just kind of perfect. You know to put the coleslaw on the meat, right? In the bun. Some people don't know that, so I'm just telling you if you don't know that.
It's the best, like, crunch and...
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Another thing that you can do in your Instant Pot is it is great for soups. So this cheesy cauliflower soup is one that Christie has made in her Instant Pot.
Yes, ma'am.
And what you're gonna do to make this into a freezer meal is into your freezer bag, you're gonna add some fresh or frozen cauliflower florets, some shredded cheddar cheese, diced onion, minced garlic, butter, heavy cream, and some cubed cream cheese, chicken or vegetable broth, pepper, and salt. You're gonna get as much air as you can out of the bag, seal it, freeze it. After you cook this in your Instant Pot, then you're gonna use an immersion blender to blend that soup. And when we serve this one, we like to serve it kind of like a baked potato soup, where you put those sliced green onions and a sprinkle of cheddar cheese, and then you can do some bacon bits. If you want to make it vegetarian, you can do imitation bacon bits on top. And this one is just like hearty and tasty.
And it's really pretty when it's all put together in the bowl with the bacon bits and the chives and stuff, like potato soup, right? Like it, and,
yes.
And the cheese. It's lovely. And it's really tasty. Something I want to mention, here's a freezer meal tip from Christie. If you don't have a lot of space in your freezer, some of the ones that we're talking about today, like that cheesy cauliflower soup, actually calls for 4 cups of chicken broth or vegetable broth. You can keep your package of chicken broth out and keep it in your pantry so that you have a thinner bag to put in your freezer. It's going to defrost faster and it is going to be thinner so you can like pack more in there. Now, when you just have to keep it off to the side, and when you go to use it, you add the chicken broth or vegetable broth at that time. So make sure you leave yourself a note on your label or on your bag somewhere to say add 4 cups of chicken broth. Otherwise, you will look at it and be like, I don't know how much to add. I have to look it up now. Like, the whole point of the labels is to make things easier. Use it to your advantage. Make sure you write it down. When I got my Instant Pot, Texas ribs were one of the first things that I had to try right away. I have made ribs so many ways. I have boiled them, and then, like, honestly, that's how I was first told how to make ribs, so don't come at me.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
to boil them low and slow all day. Because that's what our grandmas did, because maybe they had crock pots, maybe they didn't, but that's what worked. And then I would finish them on the barbecue with a bit of sauce. And then I learned from a friend that if I cut them and put them on baking trays, I can put them in my oven for hours and hours on low. And that actually worked pretty good, because then it's not like boiled.
You're right.
Yeah, I just liked it better. I liked that idea
texture.
better. Yes, I have done ribs in my smoker, and that obviously works really well, and they're really delicious. And I have done them in the slow cooker, but my method really that I preferred was in the oven until I got my Instant Pot. Thank you very much. Just a little bit of water in there to create that steam, and these don't take long at all. And you can just this morning decide you want ribs, and by dinner time you have them ready, and you didn't even really have to break a sweat. Like, honestly, Instant Pot is where it's at for ribs. Into your large bag, you're going to add your pork back ribs with the membrane removed, and you cut them into segments. You're going to add in tomato sauce, brown sugar, dry onion soup mix, some apple cider vinegar, Worcestershire sauce, chili powder, chili sauce, salt, a bay leaf, and a beer. You will mix it all together and pour it over your ribs. Remove the excess air, seal it up, and freeze it. When you go to cook this, allow it to thaw, get it into your Instant Pot. Bam, in less than an hour, you have these succulent, tasty ribs that are falling off the bone that, again, the neighbors will be knocking on your door being like, what are you cooking in there, Christy? Because sometimes, I don't want to say it's happened a lot, but I have had people walk in my house and be like, what are you cooking? And this would definitely be one of them. Man, they're just so good.
You know how I was saying that in that mega session that we did 2 brand new recipes that were, you know, either for the Instant Pot or the slow cooker. Well, this one, like, it's been weeks since we ate it. It's been like a month or two since we like made it, but it's been weeks since we made it. My husband is still talking about it. He's like, when are you gonna make those beef tips again? And funny, and he was like dreaming about it. Like, he just loved, and he told people, like, it's like, he told people. It's like, and I'm like, it's not nice to tell people unless you're inviting them over to eat the thing. Like, anyway, he is in love with this recipe. Now, full disclosure here, not only do I not use my Instant Pot, I don't eat beef. So I have no idea about this recipe that I'm telling you.
I use the Instant Pot. I do eat beef. Her husband is not wrong. These are amazing. They are really, really, really good. And these are already in the club. They will be coming to the main site.
So this is the no peak beef tips, and the only thing that my husband was disappointed about is when we do a brand new recipe and we're just trying it and experimenting and see if it's good enough to go into the club or if it needs some tweaks or whatever, we only make 2, one for each of our families. Mm-hmm. And so we had only made 2 of this, so he's only had to, like,
he's only been able to try it once.
So that's his only disappointment, is like, where's the other one? I'm like, we didn't make another one. Like, yeah, like you could go over to Christie's, like, stealthily, you know, like, sneak when they're sleeping and steal their
We're neighbors. Tips. It could happen.
Nope, I don't think he's gonna do that, but it could happen.
Could happen.
Like, say that he's going over to borrow a tool from your husband or something and actually go into your freezer. Their freezer is in the garage, so it's
we would never know.
Possible.
We really wouldn't know. And
so into your large freezer bag, you've got your beef stew meat, sliced onion, minced garlic. We just use our garlic from a jar to make it super easy. Some sliced mushrooms, a gravy packet, some dry onion soup mix, cream of mushroom soup, beef broth, Worcestershire sauce, salt, and pepper. Squish all of that around in the bag to combine it. Get the excess air out, seal it, freeze it. When you go to make this one in your Instant Pot, you thaw it. You follow the instructions. We will put the links to the recipes down below this video so that you can find the Instant Pot instructions. And then you can serve this over mashed potatoes, rice, or egg noodles, or if you're my husband, you can go back the next day and take the leftovers, heat them in the microwave, and just stand there with a fork and eat them. Like, oh my word. Anyway, he's a very big fan. We have reached... Okay. It is time. We're going to share with you the story.
The story of the chicken hurry.
Chicken hurry. So, chicken hurry, super simple recipe. My mom made it when I was a kid, and I introduced it to Christy, and it's one of those that just kind of gets made again and again. It's super kid friendly, all the things. Well, one night, Christy and I were talking, and we decided that we were gonna get our families together for supper. So
I think we both happened to have taken that out. That doesn't happen all that often.
No, I think that's how it came about.
Right.
It was like, we were like, what did you take out today? And, chicken hurry.
No way, I'm making the chicken hurry.
And so we decided to just like pool the chicken hurries, hers from her house and mine from my house, and get together like right at supper time. So she was going to cook hers at home, and I was cooking mine here, and she and her family were gonna come and eat with my family. So I don't know, it was quite a long time ago, so I don't know what we were doing for sides, and I don't remember all the little specifics, but I do remember
the outcome.
The outcome. So I cooked my chicken hurry in the oven because when I was growing up, that's how my mom cooked hers, and that's the only way I knew how to cook it. So, in my baking dish, covered in the oven for an hour, and it comes out and it looks
good. Like it's chicken in the oven and it's fine.
No, the sauce.
You didn't know.
Like, I didn't know that it could look better. So it looked like it had always looked for
It
me.
looked fine to you, right? Well,
Christie arrived.
I don't like to cook my chicken in the oven. I always find it overcooks it, or it's like it's there in the sauce and it doesn't. I don't like the look of it.
Right.
And so I often do mine on the skillet. I feel like I have more control, and I use my meat thermometer, and so I don't overcook it. And that sauce has a chance to reduce and richen, and it changes color, like it gets richer looking. And so chicken curry, I mean, it has ketchup and brown sugar and water and drying and soup mix. So like really we're not talking gourmet anything here, but it does look better. And honestly, by reducing that sauce a bit, it's a bit richer and it's a bit tastier in my opinion.
Thicker.
It's thicker.
There's a sear on the chicken.
Yes. All of those things. So that's what I brought over. And I love Charlotte, and it was never my intention to embarrass her at all, but we put the dishes down on her table and mine disappeared and we were eating hers.
My kids like devoured hers. Like it was just like the hungry vultures just descended on her chicken.
And you know more than anybody. You eat with your eyes first.
Yes.
And you love you love going to fancy restaurants.
I do.
And she's a total foodie. She loves presentation as much as taste. And I mean, this is a family dinner. It really, I'm serious, it's not gourmet, but it just was really funny. And so I don't tell that story unless she brings it up because
it insults my cooking. But I had never, ever cooked chicken in a skillet. I didn't know, I didn't really know. And again, my mom cooked it in the oven, so that's what I knew to do. And when I saw hers, I was like, oh, okay. And then the next time that I had Marry Me chicken, I think I had it already in my freezer, but the next time I went to take it out and make Marry Me chicken, my Marry Me chicken had always tasted good, quite good, but it wasn't at the top of my list in any way. And then I made it in the skillet, and oh my word!
It did all the things that it did with that chicken curry.
Totally.
And so really,
and even texture-wise, you get, because of the sear on the chicken, just get a better texture.
Yep.
And I have to say that night, that her family and my family, and at the time, all my kids were living at home, so they're I 7 kids and her 2 kids. And her husband, my husband. So it was a lot of people eating this meal. Like I said, we did have side dishes. I just don't remember what they were.
Yeah.
And the honest truth is, there was leftovers of my chicken. Hers was long gone. And people they would rather just eat sides than eat mine. It was so bad. Anyway, and so I made it into soup. It did not go to waste because you know that I don't like to waste food. So I chopped up the rest of the chicken. I made it into soup along with the sauce and everything. But that was my sad chicken curry story. And
it has nothing to do with Instant Pots, but it kind of came up and we thought we'd tell you if you haven't heard that one before. And funny story, we had chicken curry last night and I cooked it in my skillet and I thought of you.
I bet she's never cooked chicken curry in the oven again.
Have you?
Never.
And now you understand why the Jamaican jerk chicken can't go in the slow cooker.
True story. It's true. So this recipe is great for stovetop, slow cooker, or Instant Pot, this next recipe. But it was it took probably 2 years from the time that we first heard about this recipe until the time that I felt ready to try to make our version of this recipe because it sounded so weird.
And it didn't sound weird at all to me because, it's Cincinnati chili. At my house growing up, and I lived in northern Alberta, Canada, if my mom made chili, she served it on pasta. And we had spaghetti. She used it kind of like a spaghetti sauce. And so that was normal at my house. And we were just talking, and I think we were doing a video when I said that out loud, and you said, "What?"
And then in the video comments, people were like, oh, that's Cincinnati chili. Like, that's what people do.
And Cincinnati chili is a little different than how my mom made it, of course, because Cincinnati is a long ways away from northern Alberta. But it was, we learned it was a thing. That's all.
And so then I started researching and deep diving, and I have a really good friend, Heather, who lives in Ohio. So I also picked Heather's brain. Interestingly enough, Heather likes to eat her Cincinnati chili in a burrito. So the way that you usually eat it is on spaghetti or on a hot dog. If it's on a hot dog, you call it a coney. But she loves to eat hers in a burrito, which apparently is also a thing. It's not as popular as the other two ways to eat it, but it's so interesting to me. And there's two main
camps,
chili restaurants. There's Skyline, and I don't remember the name of the other one. And I know I'm gonna be just raked over the coals in the comments because I don't know.
They'll just tell us, and they'll tell us nicely because we're sensitive.
Yes, please. But if you're in one camp or the other, if you're an Ohioan, a Cincinnatian, I don't know how to say these things, but yeah. The other thing that is really interesting about Cincinnati chili, other than you can eat it on a hot dog, on spaghetti, or in a burrito apparently, is that you top it with things. And not only is there the Skyline camp or the other camp, and actually now Heather's told me that there's all these mom and pop chains that sometimes you have, your preference is one of the mom and pop chains, or it's not a chain, I guess, one of the mom and pop shops. So not only is it that divisive that way, but there's toppings. And maybe you just have a bit of the minced onion on top of yours. Maybe you have minced onion, kidney beans, and cheese. The cheese has to be cheddar and it has to be extremely finely grated. This is a very specific thing. Or you might have the beans, the onion. Now the beans is one that not a lot of people do the beans apparently. I sound like I know what I'm talking about. I don't really know what I'm talking about.
We need to go to Ohio for a field trip. I think,
need to go to Ohio to see Heather.
To see your friend.
And so I'll have to do a research trip to Ohio just to get to see Heather. But the other thing you put on top is oyster crackers. And we tried.
We have Googled.
We have tried.
We cannot find them here.
Oyster crackers. When I was in Denver in November with my friend Heather, the one from Ohio, and Bethany and Angela, who are not from Ohio, they showed me oyster crackers in a grocery store there. So
you've seen them at least. You didn't buy them and eat them?
Okay. I have not tasted them, but I have seen them. So apparently you can, on top of your chili, which is on top of your spaghetti, you can put raw minced onion, finely grated cheddar cheese, beans, and oyster crackers. So, if you are still with me for the Cincinnati chili, I'm going to tell you how to make this. And I'm also going to tell you that weirdly enough, my family loved it.
It is a bit of a departure from regular chili. There are some spices in here that you're going to say, but really, it does work. It's interesting. It's a really interesting dish.
So into your large freezer bag, you're going to add your ground beef that's been browned and cooled. Then you're going to add some minced onion, tomato paste, tomato sauce, chili powder, oregano, cumin, cinnamon, allspice, ground cloves, cayenne pepper, brown sugar, salt, pepper, Worcestershire sauce, apple cider vinegar, and a bit of unsweetened chocolate because it wasn't strange enough with the allspice and cinnamon. You're going to squish all of that together in your bag to combine it. You're going to get your air out, seal it, freeze it. When you put this into your Instant Pot, you're going to thaw it. You're going to add 3 cups of water and cook it up, and then you have choices to make at that point. You can choose to serve it on spaghetti. You can choose to serve it in a burrito or on a hot dog and call it a coney. Then you can choose what toppings you're going to put on it. I didn't have the oyster crackers to try, so I had mine on spaghetti. I did the finely diced onion and the finely shredded cheddar cheese. I did not add the kidney beans, but I really enjoyed mine. Again, weird. And my brain was like, this is not spaghetti, but it's on spaghetti. But we have put all kinds of things on noodles, so.
Who knows? The sky's the limit.
Really?
This next recipe is pepper steak. And normally we do it in the slow cooker. In fact, the real title is slow cooker pepper steak. But obviously, if you can do it in the slow cooker, you can do it in the Instant Pot. Into our large freezer bag, we are going to add some beef stir-fry strips, some diced onion, some minced garlic, diced green pepper, diced red pepper, some diced tomatoes, Italian seasoning, beef bouillon powder, Worcestershire sauce, steak sauce, and steak seasoning. We're going to mix that around in our bag, and then we're going to seal it up and freeze it. When we go to cook this, you're going to want to have a tablespoon of cornstarch handy, because you're going to either cook this in your slow cooker or hopefully in your Instant Pot, because that's what we're all here for. At the very end, after it's done, you're going to want to leave it on the keep warm setting or return it back to saute and keep cooking it. But you want to do a cornstarch slurry. So you need that tablespoon of cornstarch in like a quarter cup, maybe not even, of cold water. Mix it really well and put that into the mix, and it will thicken up. So give it another 10 minutes or so to allow that to cook through. And then it is ready to eat, gravy and everything. You can put this on rice, you can put it on potatoes, you can put it on mashed potatoes. You could probably put it on spaghetti, although I wouldn't.
I would not try. I would not recommend.
I would not recommend this on spaghetti, but it is super flavorful and tasty. We don't make this one a ton, and I think I wouldn't mind putting it back into the rotation, because I remember my husband absolutely going gaga over this. And if you can't find beef strips at your grocery store, find the cheapest steak that you can find. That is the right amount. Like if this says 1.5 pounds, so buy 1.5 pounds of the cheapest steak you can find, cut it cross grain. So if you don't know what that means, Google it, watch a video. It makes sense because it makes it really tender. And you're going to be putting it in your Instant Pot anyway, so it makes it super tender. This like just falls apart in your mouth. It is so delicious. You really, really have to try it.
This one is the shredded beef nachos, very popular at my house, and I love making it because when we're making it in the freezer bag, it's not very many ingredients. It's super, super fast to put together. And when I'm making it on the day that I go to serve it, it is equally easy. So into your freezer bag, you're gonna add your beef roast, some taco seasoning, salsa, and beef broth. That's right, just 4 ingredients and you have a delicious meal. You're going to seal that in your bag, and then you are going to freeze it. After this is cooked in your Instant Pot, you're gonna shred it, and you can serve this in tacos or on nachos. Our favorite way is to serve this on nachos, and my personal favorite way is to set this out if you do a nacho bar and you have company over, and then it can be one of the topping options. And yeah, it is. And then usually if we do that, we end up with leftovers of the meat. So then we use the leftover meat to make tacos the next day.
I love anything where it's beef and then it gets shredded, especially for something like this, because it goes so far.
Yes.
Like this is definitely something that you would want to use for a large family or for when you have company, because you can feed a lot of people, because really it's not like a steak for everybody. You're just like honestly a couple of tablespoons to like in your taco, or maybe half a cup in your nachos. Like it really does go a long ways.
It stretches. Kind of what I love the shredded meats too. I was thinking as we were talking through these recipes, I was like, ooh, you know what else would be really good in the Instant Pot that we did not add today, but was the Dr. Pepper pulled pork, which is like a favorite of both of ours.
Absolutely. And now when we were talking about it, I was thinking the barbecue shredded chicken.
Yes, it would be amazing.
It would be
in the
amazing.
Instant Pot.
We might need a
and-
little more moisture for that one.
Yes.
But-
The Dr. Pepper pulled pork would probably be okay because you've got your Dr. Pepper.
You got your
in there,
Dr.
so
Pepper.
you've got plenty of moisture. But yes, you're right about the. But
And it would
both
be
of those are shredded meats. They are both great for taking camping. Now, I bring my slow cooker camping, but I don't know.
I totally have.
You could bring your Instant Pot.
I take my Roomba camping.
That is glamping.
Our first RV had carpet throughout the entire thing, and the kids were little, and there was just sand everywhere. And so I started to take my Roomba camping. I don't anymore. They're a little tidier, and I have way less carpet. I don't think I have any carpet in this one, and so I can just sweep the whole thing. I don't need my Roomba anymore, but I used to. I totally take my slow cooker. We go quadding, and so we're gone, and we come back, and supper's ready. There's chili in the pot.
Well, and this year with your Instant Pot, you have the app on your phone, so you could put the frozen thing in it.
Yeah, it really could.
And have it like ready to go. Mm-hmm. And then when you're like, it's about time, you could push the button if you're in range.
If I have Wi-Fi.
Yes.
It won't have Wi-Fi. I have Wi-Fi. It won't have Wi-Fi.
That's true. There's a lot of ifs in this situation.
In a perfect world, when there was Wi-Fi everywhere, I'd be able to do that. No, I think it would, I totally would consider taking my Instant Pot camping. And then I could have my steel cut oats in the morning.
True.
And just get up and push the button.
I recently made steel cut oats for the freezer. I should have borrowed I have an Instant Pot. I should have borrowed Christie's Instant Pot recipe or been taught how to do it.
Mine is the Instant Pot recipe. It's in the app.
Oh, see? There. Because I will pop a video right up there of me making these breakfast meals. A lot of them were like new experiments. I have to say, Christie with a K in our club and Facebook group, she told me about making omelet fillings for the freezer. And so I did. And I made one that was butternut squash and sage. And my husband and I and 3 of our kids are like, that is the best omelet I have ever had in my life.
Butternut squash, no kidding.
Butternut squash. I roasted them and cubed them pretty small. And I roasted the sage too.
Yeah.
And then just froze that part. And when I made the omelets, I did it with the egg and Parmesan cheese instead of a cheddar or Tex-Mex or whatever, because that went better with the butternut. It was like at least as good as something you would get in like a fancy restaurant.
You would know.
It was, yes, it was amazing. And then I also made steel cut oats for my husband, and I did them in super cubes, but I didn't know about the Instant Pot trick. So I stood there at the stove, and actually it took twice as long as it said in the recipe it was going to take. So I would be willing to give the Instant Pot a try for the steel cut oats. Even my Instant Pot that I'm afraid of, I think I could get past the fear to not stand
You get to use
there.
your saute function with mine because it has butter first, and then you put your steel cut oats in and you saute them in the butter and get that nutty flavor.
Which is what I did on the stove.
Okay.
But
this is not
easier.
very long. And then, then you just pour them. Mine's a combination of milk and water, and it has a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar, and some vanilla, and the cranberries.
Okay, I didn't have cranberries in mine, but I topped mine with
with
apples and cinnamon, and they've been really good. So okay, all of that to say that the Instant Pot may be growing on me because I've been hearing Christie talk about you can make hard-boiled eggs, and did you know
I have done hard-boiled eggs, and they peel so nicely,
and baked potatoes.
I've made potato. Gosh. I don't know what else weird. I don't know if I've made anything weird in there.
No cakes or anything like that.
You can.
Yeah.
You totally can make a cake. My grandma used to make cakes in her slow cooker.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Now, a question that I think we're going to get asked, and so I will just address it here, is yes, you can cook a lot of the Instant Pot things from frozen, and something that some people do is they freeze their freezer meal in the shape of their Instant Pot so that they can cook it from frozen right in there, and it is the right shape to fit. Because if it's in your freezer bag, you do have to, thaw it enough that it will fit, because you're trying to fit a rectangle thing in a round hole.
Yeah.
And it's not going to fit. So there are containers that you can buy that are round like that. You can also do ice cream pails, and that does work. You have to be a little bit careful because you do get some air if you're doing the ice cream pail like between the top of your freezer meal and the lid. And so you can totally do that, but you're going to be very limited if you do that in how many meals you can make, because those round containers or the ice cream pails take up a lot of space in your freezer. So it's still our recommendation that you freeze them in the bags so that you can fit a lot more in your freezer. That's the best way to get the most of your time, your money, your the mental energy, all of that. And then, yes, I know that it does require you to at least thaw it a little bit, or, run it under some water to be able to move it enough to shape it into, so it will fit in your Instant Pot. So I do know that is an extra step, but
you would have to do that anyway to put it in a stovetop pot. Really. I guess you're not cooking it from frozen on a stovetop pot.
No, but the difference between being able to fit, I'm thinking about my freezer. I think maybe I could fit 12 meals.
In ice cream pails?
In ice cream pails.
Yeah.
If I'm conceptualizing this, but I was thinking 8, but I do think I could probably fit 12. Versus I can fit about 70 meals in the freezer bag.
Yeah, of course.
So there's a very big difference. Our recommendation would still be to go with the freezer bags and then, thaw enough that you could
get it in there.
Maneuver it, massage it.
Massage it into the pot.
Into the pot.
And something that I am going to address, because it will come up, if you go onto a website that is made for Instant Pots, you will see that they use the saute function a lot to sear the meat, and then they add all of the vegetables and everything. And you'll notice we're putting everything in the bag. So we are skipping that searing part and that step. And what it does, it does provide a little bit more flavor. So we're trading a little bit. There's the convenience of it being all in one, as opposed to cooking it from scratch that day. But there's more to it than being just in the bag, because it's the mental load, right? What are you going to make for supper tonight? Oh, I just have stuff I can pull out because it's all there. It's in the bag. I don't have to think about, well, how long is it going to take me to chop onions? And I don't think I have any red peppers.
Gotta run to the store.
You have to run to the store. So really, and if it really matters to you, put your meat and you put the rest of it in 2 different bags. And you can still sear your meat to have, that extra richness that comes from that, if it's really, really important to you. I don't find it to be a big enough difference for it to be worth the extra work, in my opinion. We are a freezer meal site. We're going to tell you how to freeze it and how to do it quick so it's convenient so that you can get it on the table. And so just when you notice that we skip that step, that's why.
But know that we do care about texture. So you'll notice in that Cincinnati chili, we did not put the raw ground beef in our bag. We had already browned it and cooled it. So we are doing that searing step or whatever ahead of time for that one. And anything that's a ground meat, we're gonna do that for. We do, like Christie said, sometimes you do what's gonna save you a lot of time and mental space. We will often, steer that way. But we're very conscious to try to make it taste as good as possible.
Absolutely.
And I think we walk that line really well. So yes, we're not going to be, searing those in the pepper steak, searing those beef strips.
No.
But we're still, they're still going to be fall apart tender, and you're still going to get all the flavors. It's going to be amazing.
This next recipe is relatively new to us. It is chicken soup with ginger and turmeric. And man, okay. The color on this one, because turmeric, and man, flavorful and not just your regular chicken soup. This might be a really good chicken soup if you do have a cold.
It's healthy.
Because it's healthy, but also it'll clear out your sinuses a little bit with the ginger. It's lovely. So into your large freezer bag, you're going to add some boneless, skinless chicken breasts. You're going to add some diced onion, diced celery, unless you are Charla and are allergic, then you'll skip that part. You're going to add minced ginger, some sweet potatoes that have been peeled and cubed, some chicken broth, or again, you can leave that out in the container and add it when you go to cook this. You're going to add some thyme, salt and pepper, a bay leaf, some turmeric, and a cup of full-fat coconut milk, and a squeeze of lemon juice. You're going to mix it around in your bag, seal it up and freeze it. When you go to serve this, allow it to thaw just enough to get into your Instant Pot, or honestly, my preference truly is to thaw it all the way, and then I can trust the timing instructions, because I'm not really great at like how much extra time do I need to thaw or like to cook something that's frozen. That's not something that I'm really great at yet. You're going to add it into your Instant Pot. Once this pressurizes, seriously, it's done in 15 minutes and fully cooked. You're going to shred the chicken and serve this baby up. And wow, is it fantastic.
Another thing the Instant Pot can be really great for when it comes to marrying freezer meals and Instant Pot is if you are cooking for one or two, then the Instant Pot can be a great way to cook things up quickly and then get them into individual portions and get those in your freezer. One that I was specifically thinking about, because Christy was just talking about it, is that chicken soup. What we like to do with some of our soups is cook them up fully before freezing so that we can have lunches, like individual portion lunches. So what we do is we will cook them up fully and then we'll portion them into super cubes or into quart size freezer bags. If we freeze them in super cubes, then we wait till they're fully frozen. We pop the cubes out and put them into a large freezer bag. And then we can just take out 1 cube or 2 cubes at a time, have them like heat them from frozen really on the stovetop. You can thaw them if you want to, but you know, they really are that fast. That's something I will often have for lunch because I work from home and I don't have to plan ahead. I don't even have to plan ahead enough to thaw something. I can just go to my freezer. Right now, I have curried butternut squash soup, curried lentil soup, dill pickle soup. I have 1 left of the sauerkraut soup. I have creamy tomato basil soup. Like I have a lot of soups in there.
I still have zuppa toscana.
Ooh,
That
yes.
was a while ago, and I think I'm finally out of the Heather's sauerkraut soup, so I think we need to like put that back on the list pretty good. Sounds like a weird soup. It is so fantastic. You will fall on your butt. It is so good.
And it is like the spicy dill pickle soup is just like it's out
And
of
it
this
freezes
world.
great. We held off for so long because we weren't sure.
And we had to really tweak the recipe.
Yeah.
That was one that we played around with probably for 2 or 3 years before we felt confident to be like, this is going in the club because it's exactly how we want it. And now it's there and you can experience the awesomeness because it is awesome. And I have served that to quite a few people. I made it for my mom last time that she stopped by. She loved it. I made it for my brother-in-law. He stopped by in the middle of the afternoon and he was kind of in between like going from one job to another and he was hungry and I'm like, well, that like I can make that quickly. And he wanted more. Like I was like thawing more because he loved it. So yeah, all around soups can be so amazing. And there's something that you can use the Instant Pot to fully cook the soup faster and then be able to portion it because, you know, soup on your stovetop can take quite a while.
It can take a while, and sometimes you really want it to sit for like really cook for a long time, low and slow, but also you kind of have to babysit it a bit, whereas with the Instant Pot, it really is pushing a button and letting your phone tell you when it's done.
Right. I mean, if you have the fancy Instant Pot. But yeah, when you were talking about the chicken ginger turmeric soup, I was thinking 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
And then you could portion it into your super
Now, it
cubes.
does take a bit of time to pressurize,
Right.
and if it's frozen, it'll take longer. But it's going to take at least that time on your stove to heat up to boiling
boil,
so that
yeah.
you can simmer it. And you're going to need to simmer it probably for longer than 15 minutes
Yes.
to really let your flavors melt. So yeah, it's just really a win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win. And we have converted. We have almost converted Charla.
It's true because I'm talking about doing steel cut oats in the Instant Pot, and this is revolutionary for me to be like embracing my Instant Pot today.
True.
But also, you know, over the years, like Christy lives 2 doors down, but she's we spend a lot of time together, and she is so good with the cooking and whatever, but she also knows me really well. So she knows, like, I don't embrace change. And she's gentle, but she continues to, so the meat thermometer is an example. She just said it so often and, like, just talked so much about how this really, and
the first time I told her, she's like, I'm never going to do that.
Yeah.
Because, and it's a real thing, and I get it. Chicken is fully cooked at 165. So really, you take it off when it's at 160, you put it in the tinted foil, and so that keeps the heat in, and it will continue to cook. And over that next 5 or 6 minutes, it will rise to 165. It truly, truly will. The problem is sometimes still a little bit pink in the middle.
So I like my chicken at 172.
She does. She has her temperature, and that's fine. And so that, you know, for years I'd been like really overcooking my chicken because I wanted to be sure there was no pink in there. And now I'm like, I know we're not going to die.
You know it's safe.
And I like the chicken better. Not necessarily that it's 165 on the nose, but I'm not overcooking it so badly that it's not enjoyable. It really, and so I never said you have to do this. I just really talked about it in a positive way, and eventually it piqued her interest enough to try it.
And it's funny that I didn't switch sooner for that one in particular, because my husband's colorblind. So when he would barbecue,
that man has given me raw beef, like,
yes.
And so we just throw it back on. Like, there's a lot of grace there, but he
cannot
switched.
see the pink.
He had a meat thermometer long before you did.
Yes. So I have come around, and I see the writing on the wall with the Instant Pot. Like, I'm starting to slowly warm to the idea.
Don't worry, slow cooker. She won't ditch you.
No. No, slow cooker, you still have a place in my heart.
My slow cooker beat the road.
Yeah. But mine, you know, over the years, I feel like I'm going to be loyal to it because it was loyal to me.
Sure.
Like, all those years that I had so many appointments with our kids, like so many appointments.
Oh, it saved you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always still had dinner to come home to. You know, the combination of freezer meals in the freezer and the slow cooker saved my butt.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very loyal to my slow cooker, but it can start to maybe the Instant Pot can give it a break, and maybe it'll like the Instant Pot.
It might.
They can be friends
They're
too.
sisters.
Yes.
Cousins?
Cousins. I'll go with cousins.
We should wrap this up. You guys got
this is
things to
long.
do and places to go. Thank you so much for joining us today. You can tell that we haven't spent a lot of time together recently because we're so chatty with each other today. If you're here for the chat, I love that. Thank you so much. If you're here for the food, please stay for the chat. And if you don't want to, that's fine. That's why we timestamp this stuff now. And thanks so much for joining us. Hit like and subscribe.
Happy cooking.
Bye.